What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Line of the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we're back with this month's dispatch of the Starships Collection from Fanhome, and one where I am actually legit interested to see the model. Now, obviously, these are all really awesome, and aside from a couple of flaws here and there, having all of these models from the most recent iteration of Star Trek, so to say, has been pretty freaking amazing, I do have to say. And this one, no different. I'm really looking forward to seeing this one in person. Is as a ship that we didn't see too much on screen, but obviously the name kind of carries a little bit of weight with it. So let's go ahead and get it opened and see what we got. So let's go ahead and get the box unsealed. And indeed, we have the USS Excelsior NCC-42037. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, well, the Excelsior, isn't it NCC-2000? Shouldn't that be NCC-2000A? Well, let's talk a little bit about that, shall we? So let's go ahead and get our box off to the side here and take a look at the box art itself. Looks really nice. Ship looks really cool. I really like the updated design. Very, very cool. There's the front. Fanhome. All right. Let's go ahead and get this open. This one was kind of already unsealed a little bit, so let's see if we can do the same thing here. Oh, no. Went ahead and sealed it back up. So let's go ahead and get it open. Very carefully. Very carefully get this off. Try to keep these boxes as nice as I can. There we go. There we are. Excellent news. All right, so let's take a look inside here real fast. But before we do, let's talk a little bit about its registry, NCC 42037, and why it's not NCC 2000-A. The reason for that is, as I mentioned way back in the early part of the series, and I believe it was with the Titan, actually, Starfleet and the Federation Council in Star Trek, in the fake world of Star Trek, they need to determine whether or not a ship's registry is going to be given what's called a legacy title now, or a legacy registry. And that is kind of like the Enterprise, like the NCC 1701, received that distinction when it saved Earth from the whales, or from the probe that was looking for the whales in Star Trek 4. That was a decision on the part of the Federation Council at the time to go ahead and extend that honor to the ship. There are very few ships in the fleet that actually have that. Voyager is one of them, and maybe just a couple others. The Titan, just a few others. Otherwise, you know, for as great as a captain I'm sure Captain Sulu was, his ship didn't get the registry title. And so when the Excelsior 2 class, which is what this one is, was commissioned, basically it's just the refit Excelsior. When they went ahead and did that, they went ahead and just gave it a new registry at 42037. This is the ship that we see Rafi in Star Trek Picard, with her and Elnor at the end of season 2. So let's go ahead and get it opened up. Just a little bit of a reason why it's 42037 instead of NCC 2000-A. And that's exactly why. So, all right, let's go ahead and take a look. Now, I know nothing about the design of the ship. I am looking forward to seeing what the story is about this. So let's go ahead and take a look and get our magazine. This box is a little tight. There we go. All right, here is our magazine. Let's go ahead and set the box off to the side real quick. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. There we go. All right. Ooh, she's a big girl up front. Look at that. Yeah. I really kind of like that profile. Here's how it's going to sit on the stand. Very cool. I like that pose. Excellent. Oh, looks like the Excelsior was destroyed at the Battle of the Sol Sector, and when the Borg took over the fleet. That kind of sucks. Captain Ben Bassett. Interesting. Length, 588 meters. That's a fairly large starship, and it was active in 2401. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and read to get a little bit of the history of the ship and all of that. When we come back, I will kind of review. All right, so here is the story of the Excelsior for what we knew about it. It was first introduced in the end of season 2 of Picard, as I said, with Rafi kind of in command of the ship with Elnor. It was used to kind of deflect the shields or help extend the shields from that Borg thing. Kind of confusing episode, definitely. Confusing season for sure. But it was kind of given its first treatment in there and then eventually was destroyed like I said, at the end of season 3, unfortunately. But this was the basis for a new Excelsior class, as the design from the previous one was over 100 years old, and Starfleet was ready to replace it. So, here is some beauty shots of the ship. It is a very good looking ship. Should be kind of reminiscent of the Sovereign class Enterprise E, as the E was based on the Excelsior class, which was very, very cool. Obviously, designed by John Eves, who, if you wouldn't believe, had his hand in designing this one. So, designing of the Excelsior 2 class, very cool story. When they were looking at season 2, when they were looking at what ship should come to the Stargazer's aid, it basically was, well, we want something that harkens back to original Star Trek. We want something that is immediately familiar in someone's eyes. Let me go ahead and just kind of pull that up there a little bit. And as always, if you'd like, go ahead and pause each one of these screens if you'd like to read the magazine. But they were like, okay, well, let's go ahead and go back to like get an Excelsior class. But the thing with the Excelsior class is by this point, it's well over 100 years old. The design's old. Starfleet had needed to move on. And so he tasked John Eves with redesigning the Excelsior class for a modern day Star Trek for the 25th century. This kind of came about in the late part. I guess it would be the later half of the 24th century is when this was basically deployed, and it was active around the turn of the century there. When we saw it at the end of season 2 of Picard, and then provided the same base and concept for what the Excelsior class was to Starfleet for over 100 years. So, talking a little bit about the design and bringing it to like sort of looking like the Sovereign, like we see it right here. Actually, this is kind of my favorite design. Much closer neck. They wanted the neck to be very close in, but with kind of the reminiscent, long engineering section of the Excelsior class with the little thing in the middle for the nacelles to sit on. Kind of getting to the point where like Terry Metalis and the design, and people were like, well, it's too close to the Enterprise E. And they're like, well, the E was based off the saucer, or the Sovereign was based on the Excelsior class. And Terry Metalis is like, okay, well, carry on. So, they did kind of pull it back, kind of shorten the saucer, made it a little bit more round versus the really long pointy like we got here in kind of this design up here in the corner, which is also another one of my favorite designs here. And kind of the design of the the bridge module and what have you. This is very reminiscent of the Enterprise E as well. And then they start talking about the nacelles, like it was built along and designed along with the Titan. So it's obviously, they wanted to kind of give it the same nacelle treatment. But they agreed that the ship is going to be much bigger than the Titan and the Stargazer, the Sagan class Stargazer, and some of the, like, it seems to be kind of like a mid range kind of design on the nacelle. So they kind of shortened it up a little bit, made the Bussard collectors a little smaller, put the chiller grills along the top, very Sovereign-esque, but kind of maintained a little bit of the design structure for the 25th century era Star Trek and Starfleet. And then this is kind of the final rendering that we got. So it was Dave Blass definitely had a part to play in it. John Eves went to go work on other things, but eventually came back to help here, along with Doug Drexler, of course, who is a very good name with Star Trek. And Drexler was the one who basically went ahead and 3D modeled it. So, very cool story. We have a lot of hands in the I guess you would say, some legacy hands being on the design of the ship. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing what this looks like in person. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the model. All right, so let's pray everything made it in one piece. Let's go ahead and pull off the top. Oh, everything looks good. This is a really small model. I do have to say this thing is really, really small, but oh, that looks good though. The saucer is die cast. The engineering hull is plastic ABS. That looks really, really good. Let's go ahead and take a look at the windows. Tampo prints off there too. Man, come on, you guys. Overall, though, it's not so bad. The escape pods look really good. The Aztecing looks really, really good on here. It's very subtle. Obviously, they're only picking up like some of the big highlights, but much better than the dirty look that we got on the Titan and the Enterprise G. There are our Bussard collectors, and they are the proper color, which is great. Nice red. Chiller grills look really, really good. How do our impulse engines look? Nice and red. Yeah, this is definitely, well, hold on. Two are red, two are orange. Oh, God. Well, yeah, can't get them all right. Yeah, there's a little bit of writing down on the bottom down there. Wait. I don't know if you guys can see this. Yeah, I thought so. The USS Excelsior. Oh my goodness. Excelsior. They have a misprint. Wow, there is a misprint on this model. Wow, that's crazy. Thought I saw that. But there's the bottom. That's a very nice looking ship, though, I do have to say. Here's the front look on. Very classic look. Very good. Oh, man, I do got to say, that looks really good. A lot of the tampo print is off, especially you can see along the bottom of the engineering section there. Kind of hard to pick up. It's wanting to look at the nacelles. But the windows seem to be kind of off, and it just seems to kind of be the way that this goes. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and get it onto its little base and see how it looks. And then we'll go ahead and do our beauty shot and our final thoughts. And so let's go ahead and, there we go. Put that there. This one here. Nice and secure. This, I'm assuming, is going to fit right over the nacelles or the impulse engines. There we go. Yeah, that looks good. Ooh, this base is a little wobbly, though. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead. There we go. Let's go ahead and let me go ahead and cut. This thing doesn't want to sit on here. It's really front heavy. So let me go ahead and cut. When we come back, we'll get it on its base. And like I said, give some more final thoughts. All right, well, here she is, my friends. I have to say, I've been really looking forward to this model since I kind of found out about it last month. I'm trying to kind of keep myself in the dark a little bit about what's coming up. I always kind of like it to be a surprise. But once I found out about this one, I was looking forward to learning about the design and the fact that we have some Star Trek legends with their hands on this. Definitely makes it a beautiful model and one that I'm really looking forward to adding, and I'm glad actually to add to my collection. So overall, I would say that this is a good 8 out of 10. This is one of the better models in the collection. It is definitely a small scale. This probably could have used the XL treatment, but I understand why they didn't, because this ship never really got seen in the show, so it didn't really make sense to do an XL version. But it definitely could stand to use that treatment, as it is a very attractive model. So that's what I got for you guys today. Next month, I'm not sure what's coming, which is pretty cool. That's pretty exciting to me. And there was some news in the last couple months, or last couple weeks actually, that the reception for this has been really good, as we all kind of knew it was going to be. And so Fanhome is looking to create some more and keep the line moving on. So if that's the case, I'm pretty excited about it. I don't think my pocketbook, however, is. So that's what I got for you guys today, and I just want to say thank you. I know that there was a million things y'all could have done today. Instead, you spent a couple minutes with me watching me review a model, and I think that's pretty damn cool. You guys have any questions or comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. Like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world, wherever you happen to be. And just remember to always live long, prosper.